Hey guys, what is going on? Majelsi here, bringing you my first video in my series tank reviews. Today it's going to be in my all-time favorite tank, the T57 heavy tank, the American Tier 10 Autoloader heavy tank. This tank is great in all the right ways for a casual player, all the way up into a very skilled player. Beginners, they can use this tank pretty efficiently, but they can't really maximize its potential, and this tank really can carry and decides the outcome of a lot of games in many different situations and battles. So if you're new, this is definitely a fun tank to play, and I think even if you are new, you definitely enjoy this just because it has a hell of an autoloader. But you're gonna have a lot of difficulty in as far as being successful in your battles and using this tank to what it's meant to play a role in the battle you're in. So, costs 6,100,000 credits, pretty standard for a tier 10. The guns you can put on is only one, the 120mm gun. The turret is a stock turret. Basically, once you buy this tank, you have everything already upgraded fully for it. So, like I know a couple of the tier 10s, like the E100, for example, you have to get an upgraded gun. Same with the Waffentrager E100. This tank, once you buy it, you don't need to buy anything else on it. You don't need to upgrade anything else on it. So you're pretty much set. Different types of ammo. Of course, you got your HE with 60 pin, 515 damage. Your heat rounds, which are 340 penetration, 400 damage. You can pretty much pin anything with this round, assuming it's not angled tremendously. And then the regular rounds are 258 penetration with 400 damage. So that's not bad at all. You really don't ever need to run gold rounds in this. Of course, if you're in Clan Wars, I would definitely run gold rounds. And it's always nice to have a few clips of gold rounds in this tank as well. The way this tank works as far as ammo storage is you have a certain amount of clips. Assuming you don't put the... Let's look at the equipment real quick while I'm talking about it. Assuming you don't put the... where is it? Enhanced torsion bars, where you can carry a little bit more ammo. You're going to hold 36 rounds. I would never carry HE. I know with a lot of open cockpit TDs running around, especially with the German line and artillery, it's always, a lot of people like to carry HE, but in this tank you'll find, especially when you're just learning it, it's better to have all AP rounds or heat rounds, or a combination of both, depending. Never HE, because when you load HE, you can't just load one HE because it's a clip. You have to load a minimum of 4 HE, and you rarely will ever use them. I used to carry one clip and I just never use it, and I'd end up running out of ammo and I needed just one more clip to kill the last enemy or whatever, and all I'd have was HE. So I stopped running HE until I decide otherwise. If I need them for Clan Wars or something, we come against a clan that uses nothing but Waffentrager E100s or artillery or something crazy like that, I'm gonna stick with the regular loadout. I actually do run all heat rounds just because it's generally better penetration. I'm working on my stats a little bit, so I want to make sure I pin if I shoot a target. Unfortunately, for heat rounds, they're high explosive anti-tank rounds. So if you're shooting a track of a tank, you're gonna basically just track it. It won't go through the track and into the hole. It'll just explode on contact on the track. So you end up tracking it but doing no damage. So if you track a E100, for example, and he's angled, pretty seriously, you won't pin him unless his turret's looking at you or something. So just keep that in mind. Another issue I've kind of had with it is running into IS-7s, IS-4s. With their spaced armor, it kind of does troll a little bit. The penetration should be well beyond what you need to penetrate for an IS-7 or IS-4, but when you're shooting sometimes the side spaced armor, it trolls you a little bit and won't go through, and you just get a hit, no damage, pin, no damage. So, looking on over at its armor, let's go ahead and switch over to this. And I am using Tank Inspector for this, so just keep that in mind if you're wondering what this application is. You can download it, it's free. Looking at zero armor, let's go right here. Basically, these blue things you see are all the optics for your crew. The top is the commander, the gunner is right there, and the driver is in the front. No armor on those at all, so, but if you does get hit, aside from HE, they're not going to do any damage to your tank. 25 armor is going to be right up here, just basically surrounding. This really isn't ever shot unless somebody's way above you or artillery, so not too worried about that. This thing is not very armored at all, just keep that in mind, except for the front hole. Moving on, 38 in the rear, not too bad considering. Looking at 45 right there in the tracks, rear tracks. 51 rear turret and the top of the turret. So artillery easily can pin you with HE. Just something to be aware of. Also 51 right there in the side hole. 76 moving to your commander's hatch, but that is 76. But if you're front facing a tank, and he tries to hit you, it's equivalent to 155, pretty much everywhere. 190. So lower tiers aren't going to pin that, and your cupola is honestly so small, and the way you can move your turret is so that it's going to be, if you're just moving your turret up a little bit, they can't hit your cupola at all. 114 is going to be your bottom hole, and that's going to be the equivalent to about 140 all the way around. As you kind of get more toward the center, it's going to be a little bit higher, especially on the sides. 127 is going to be right here, top of your hole and your gun mantlet, as well as a little bit below your gun mantlet. 137 is going to be your entire front turret, pretty much. This is where the majority of enemies will pin you. If you ever come across a T57, basically shoot it anywhere in the turret that you have an open shot on. Obviously, don't shoot it in the sides because you are just going to ricochet. And then 203 is going to be the most armor, which is the strongest point of your armor, which is right where the top plate and the bottom plate come together in kind of the middle area. And that's going to be 203, or the equivalent of about 240. And then, if you're angled correctly, you're going to look at, upper 290s. So that's great. Especially if you're not using gold rounds and somebody shoots you there, it ricochets a lot. Now, having said that, of course, this thing has pretty much no armor. Your gun, 50 armor, that's really nothing to worry about. Tracks, 20. If you're getting shot in the side anywhere in the tracks, it's not going to do any damage. This tank sits pretty high off the ground, so if you get shot in the tracks, lower tracks, it's not going to do any damage in the front or the rear tracks as well. Where you're looking at damage is in between your tracks. It's only got 70 millimeters of armor, so you're going to get pinned pretty much by any tank in the game from the side, tier 5 and above, for the most part. The biggest problem people have with this tank, they don't know how to play it, and I know that's kind of a general sense, but this thing is a glass cannon, and what I mean by that is it has no armor except for a little bit in the hull, but no one's really going to be shooting your hull all too much because you should be hull down in this thing to avoid taking, reducing your enemy's chance at hitting your tank. People will kind of treat it as a heavy tank. It says T57 heavy tank. Heavy is in the name of it, but this tank, in all senses, aside from the gun, is not a heavy tank. Its mobility is actually pretty decent. We'll go over that in a little bit. But the armor, it can't take a hit, anything is going to pin this tank, especially in tier 10s, clan wars, tier 9s. Your tank is going to get messed up a lot. So you have to treat this tank like a medium. Going up this line is literally the best way to learn how to play this tank. When you play this tank, you should think of it as a medium tank, as a supporting tank. You should never be on the front lines at any point, really. I can't think of any reason, unless your entire team is pretty much dead, or you need to take some hits for your teammates in order for you guys to win. The line coming up is really, really reflecting upon the playstyle you should use with this tank. The T69, great example of that. T54 E1, a little bit closer to this tank, but I think if you're good at the T69 and you enjoy the T69, the T57 heavy is pretty much the T69, just with a hell of a better gun, a little bit less mobility and a little bit more armor. You can get some really lucky bounces. Oh, speaking of lucky bounces, you're gonna get pinned pretty much anywhere, like I said, except for the frontal hole right in that crease. If you are kind of hold down, you will get ricochets for days. People always trying to shoot your cupola. It's a ricochet pretty much everywhere, especially with a little bit. This tank is not very tall, so most enemies, especially heavy tanks, that are going to be shooting at you, are going to be shooting you. And if they're aiming for your cupola or somewhere like that, they're going to get ricochets all the time. I have bounced countless Jagdpanzer E100s, TDs of all sorts, FV 183s, bounce off my turret all the time, and it's great. That's really the only troll spot on this tank, aside from the tracks, obviously. So, not saying that you should just stick out that part of your tank. If you come across a TD, that's not what I'm saying at all. Don't risk it, but you will notice, and it'll save your life quite a few times, the top of your turret, just because it's so trolly right there with that extreme sloping that's going on with that. So, just an armor view. Again, 203 in the front, your only armored spot. So just keep that in mind when you're playing this tank, and I'll show you some examples for a few clips later in this video of how to play this tank and how to use it most effectively. Moving on over to the statistics of it. Well, if I can pull it up here. That's not what I wanted to do. Alright, here we go. Statistics of it. Firepower, as you can see, penetration's 340. That's with the heat rounds. Damage is 400 average per shot, which is, as you can see, a little bit lower than the average heavy, which is about 96. Damage per minute is very, very high considering it's 679, almost 680 more than the benchmark. Damage per minute, great in this tank. Very, very great. Module damage is a little bit lower. Reload time is 23 seconds. Personally, I'm going to go ahead and show you my loadout on it. At the moment, I have improved vents, and that's going to help you with your reload and all aspects of your tank. I have enhanced gun laying drive, and ooh, I forgot actually what else I have. I want to say I have coated optics. Don't quote me with that, but I'm going to go ahead and put coated optics on just for demonstrational purposes. So reload time, I think mine's a little under 23 seconds, like 23.9 with my crew. Rate of fire, you're looking at about 8 shots a minute, a little over 8 if you can get that. Shells a magazine is 4, that's pretty standard. Magazine reload time is only 2 seconds, so it's actually a little bit faster than say a bat chat. So you come across a bat chat, that's a really, really nice thing to have. Shell gravity is pretty standard. Average killed is an autoloader, so it's obviously going to be a little bit higher than the average. Average damage dealt, as you can see, is 267.8 higher than average. Maneuverability, for the most part, accuracy is great. Aiming time is great. It's kind of standard for most tanks, especially with American tanks. The elevation on it it could use some work, but at the same time, it's really not that big of a deal. Not as much as depression is. Gun depression is 8, which is a little bit higher than standard, so that's nice. Gun traverse speed, you really don't have any problems with enemies circling you unless your driver's dead or your turret is jammed or something like that. Mobility of it, pretty good, 810 horsepower. The specific power is a little bit higher than the benchmark. Other than that, nothing else stands out. Survivability, this is, as you can see by the amount of red arrows pointing down, is super, super shitty just because people don't know how to use this tank. The tank's health is 2250. That's pretty good considering. The whole 1800, the turret 450, yeah. Pretty much everything in the tank aside from the ammo rack health is lower than benchmark. This tank is just it's a magnet for bullets, and anything that hits it is pretty much going to penetrate it, like I said earlier, multiple times. This thing is not very good at taking hits. If you can avoid damage, especially by TDs, absolutely do so. Your crew, what I would do, honestly, I'll get in crew in a little bit actually. Let's stay on this for now. Scout ability, yeah, it's a heavy tank. You're not worried about that too much. Matchmaking battle tiers, you're looking at pretty much tier 10 battles all the time. Win rate in this tank is actually pretty depressing at 48%. I'm not sure how that is. I think my win rate in this tank was about 55%. I had a pretty bad streak recently. I think it's down to 52 point something, almost 53, but that's decent, I guess. Win rate in this tank is a 1494.4, which is 73.5 below benchmark, so not too good. Moving on over to economy, this is a tier 10, and you're running gold rounds. You're going to lose a lot of money in this tank. It costs 26,643 to repair your tank itself. I usually spend probably 50 to 60,000 credits on ammo. And then weight, for those of you that are interested in the weight, they're the stats for it right there. So moving on over into the garage, you'll see that at first, of course, best crew skill to put for your commander is going to be 6th Sense. Always get that on all of my tanks first. That's the most helpful. I'm not sure. I'm going to be playing around with my crew skills a little bit here, but definitely what you want to do, if you don't like, I kept getting ammo racked, and I really got annoyed at that, because when you get ammo racked, you're up to a 46-second reload time, which basically you're useless after you empty your clip. Especially in clutch moments, you really need to have that only 23 seconds to reload your clip in order to be helpful to your team. So I went ahead and went with safe stowage for my first skill. I also went with my clutch braking, because this thing it could use a little bit of help with turning, and that's helped out a lot. I also went with Deadeye just to help my crit chance out. If you want to go full repairs, go 6th Sense and full repairs. Absolutely do that. Not a bad idea to go first. I went with Brothers in Arms. That's a must for your reload time, for everything else. That's really going to help you out in the long run. Accuracy, reload time, just camouflage rating, repairs, everything in general. That's a great thing to have for your second. For my third right here, I know a lot of people are probably upset that I don't have repairs for at least one of them, or at least training on repairs, especially since this is a quote heavy tank. But I decided to go with camo. This is a great sniping tank. Not saying that you should be back with the TD sniping with this. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just I felt like in maps, if I had a little bit more camo rating, to not be spotted and just one-shotted by artillery, because they can do that pretty easily with this thing's lack of armor. If I had a little bit more camo, I'd do a lot and be a lot more effective. So once that gets to 100%, I'm going to try that out a little bit, see how I like it, see if it really helps at all, especially in clan wars when I'm not trying to get spotted by an early batchat scout. I feel like it'll be pretty helpful and significant in my playstyle. Looking over to the side stats, as you can see, 2250 hit points, as we discussed earlier. Whole armor says 203, which is really only the crease right there in the front. On the sides, 50, 38 in the rear. Turret armor is 127. So if you come across a T57, shoot in the turret. Avoid the top of the turret. That's pretty much the best thing I can recommend. Standard shell damage rolls anywhere between 300 and 500. You'll hit usually around 420. Lower rolls I hit about 360 some, and higher rolls I hit about upper 480s. That's kind of generally where it hits. It hits more than likely lower 400s, between 400 and 450. So not too bad right there with that. Rate of fire 7.74, which is actually a little bit slower than what I have. In actuality, I actually have vert staff on this, so I actually do not have coated optics, so I apologize for that. Vert staff, not a bad idea. Vert staff, coated optics, is kind of up to you what you want to do with that. Wet ammo rack, really not worth it. Toolbox, not worth it. Anything else, really, coated optics, kind of these four are the ones you want to put on it, depending on your play style. As far as consumables, I just put the standard consumables on it, and as you can see, I am running full gold rounds because I am trying to stat pad a little bit with this. So, just looking at research real quick, this is exactly what it looks like after you come from the T54E1. So, I'm going to show you a couple gameplay videos of how to play this tank effectively, and how to, if you have this tank, how to really maximize your role in your battle and have a better outcome than you usually would. Alright, so for the first video, we're going to kick it off with a battle in Insk. For this map, you kind of want to go and stay behind cover. For most urban and city maps, actually, as a matter of fact, you want to stay behind cover, go out, unload your clip safely if you can. I'm not saying avoid damage at all costs. I'm not saying avoid taking a shot. I'm saying don't pull out in front of 4 tier 10s or tanks that can hit you for a lot. Sit there and unravel your clip, and then be pissed off because you died in 3 seconds before you're able to do so. I'm saying if you see somebody looking the other way, pop out. Take a couple shots. If they start looking at you, if they're a big hitter, like a Jack Panzer U100 for example, I'd move back into cover and avoid taking a shot from them, even though you maybe could get another 800 damage into them or so. So I'm moving to my usual spot in this tank on this map, which is right about here. I can usually get some early lights and put some nice shots into people. And already there's going to be a T54 right there lit up for me. I'm going to take a nice shot into the KV4 as well. Right here, that was a really shitty shot, and I'm going to end up hitting him for a 377 right there at the end. Lit up quite a few enemies right there. Got some good spotting damage in. Pretty happy with that intro. So, for people that just free XP their way to this tank, you're probably going to play it like another heavy tank because this is a quote heavy tank. So, what you need to realize is this tank has no armor, as I've stated multiple times. You cannot play it like a heavy tank. This is a support tank, not a brawler. Now, you can brawl tanks, you'll see in a little bit what I mean by that. See the KV4 again, he was pissed off. Shoot. That was a really shitty shot. Pretty much the only place I couldn't pin him in the front. I'm trying to finish him up right here, and have no idea why the fuck that didn't pin, but it is what it is. He's sitting there at 17 hit points. Pull back again, finish my shots safely, pull back, reload behind cover. Don't just stay out there waiting for people to shoot you. I feel like that's pretty much common sense, but I see people do it all the time. They just sit there and continue to look at their opponent for the 23 seconds while they're reloading. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this T54E1 right here. And I see the mouse down there. I am using gold rounds, so I am going to be able to pin the bottom hole of the mouse. I'm going to get 2 shots into him before he decides to angle, and I'm going to end up bouncing that last shot right there. Pull back into cover because I'm out of shots, and reload safely. So up to this point, I've taken 0 damage. Pretty happy with that. Looking at the map, kind of seeing where everybody is. See if I need to readjust, reposition, what I need to do. It looks pretty good for now. kind of spotting over here, making sure no one's just going to bum rush our cap mid. Looking pretty good. I see IS-3 looking pretty tasty, especially after he just got shot right there. Thought the mouse was coming out. He's not, so I'm going to go ahead and finish off this IS-3. He starts looking at me at this point, but I'm going to finish him up before he's able to get a shot off into me. Looking at the IS-8 over there, I'm not going to be able to get him. Pershing. Let's go ahead and take a couple shots of this guy. So instead of reloading right here, you'll notice I keep this shot in the clip before I decide to reload, because in case the Pershing decided, hey, that guy's shot, a lot of people that are newer don't know that this is an autoloader for some reason. You'll get the occasional person that won't know and pop back out to get some damage on you. So I could save that shot just in case he popped back out, and I would be able to get another shot into him. Even though I would have had a little bit earlier chance to reload, I decided to play it safe right there. Looking right here, see if I can get any enemies in mid. Looks like there is an IS-8. He just got railed right there. This is a really shitty shot, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. A mouse pulls out, though. I probably should have tracked him right here, but it actually worked out, and I finished him off right there with my third kill without even taking any shots yet. I've got 2 rounds left in the clip. I'm not going to reload because I know the Pershing's still around, and he's right there. So, a really, really good idea in this tank. Obviously, if you finish off your 4 rounds, a lot of enemies will count your rounds. That way they'll know when you're reloading and will just pop out and demolish you. So it's a good idea to be a little bit ballsy, especially when you know tanks like that Pershing don't know your reload time and how many shots you have left. That was pretty shitty on my part right there. So you can kind of act like you're loaded even though you're reloading, so you can get enemies to come around corners and such, or just keep them at bay, keep them from coming after you. The Pershing just shot him to come finish him off. I'm not sure what the heck this guy's doing. He must be new. Finish him off right there. I've got 1 round left in the clip. I'm going to go ahead and reload because there's only 2 enemies left. So, kind of in a little bit more detail what I was saying. If you're reloading and an enemy comes out of nowhere, act like you have a full round. Don't pull back. If you start just fully reversing, chances are they're going to know you're reloading and they're just going to come after you, especially if they're a TD or a really heavy hitting tank. If you act like they're loaded, they're going to think twice about coming around the corner or coming over a hill at you, because they're assuming you have 4 rounds. So bluffing in this tank saves your life a lot of times. So this E50M right here is going to be a great example of what I was talking about with the heat rounds. Right here, I attract him. And any other, if I was using AP, that would have pinned him absolutely. That second shot was just poorly aimed at his upper glacis. And I actually finished this guy off right here with my 5th kill. Alright, so hopping back into the garage, you'll see I picked up Mastery Badge First Class, so top 5% with this tank, and you'll also see I picked up High Caliber. Damaged quite a few enemies, and that this tank with the autoloader is going to allow you to do that. Moving to team score, you'll see that I had 6,000 damage, 5 kills, 1,194 experience, double the damage of anybody else on my team. And, all this is without even taking a shot. Guys, this is how you play this tank. You play it with the support tank. You pop out, shit on somebody, go back into cover while you reload, and if you do that, for the most part, you'll be successful. You also need to be aware of the map. This tank is a great flanking tank, as you saw. I can just drive up one flank and just let loose on enemies from the side. This tank just allows you to do that. It's got pretty good mobility, whereas other heavy tanks would lack in that. Going to detail report, shot 24 times. I hit 24 times. Penetrations was 21. It's got great pin. It's going to pin when you hit something for the most part, assuming you hit it. That map is a little bit smaller, so my engagements were kind of short to medium range. But that's not to say at longer range this tank is any worse. It is kind of to an extent. You can't snipe somebody that's hold down, with only their cupola showing at 500 meters, obviously. And you can't really do that for any tanks at all. But it's decent enough. I think you won't be disappointed with the accuracy of it. Battle lasted 4 minutes and 32 seconds pretty quickly. As you can see right there, I only made 3,000 credits, and that's because actually I got 25,000 credits for my mission reward. I spent 105,000 credits on ammo, guys. You're going to spend a shit ton when you're running gold in this tank. You don't need to run gold. I can't specify that enough. You do not need to run gold in this tank. I am just doing it because I want to increase my stats. You can absolutely run AP rounds, be successful with it. Maybe not as successful, but it won't be a problem. You absolutely do not need to run gold in this tank to have good matches. So, moving on to my final clip, which is also an ace tanker. Alright guys, so after that T57 perfection video you just watched, I'm going to show you something a little bit more realistic of what you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis. This isn't all tier 10s, we got tier 9s in here, but this is typical matchmaking for this tank. You're just going to be slicing through kids' armor. Another city map. City maps are going to be the places where you excel in this tank. Something I didn't touch on last video, I just want to make sure you guys understand is don't go balls deep into this tank with this tank rather. It is a tier 10 and a tier 9 battle, so of course you're gonna have the upper hand to an extent, but that doesn't mean charge in there by yourself and unload your clip and then be pissed off because they killed you. That's not what this tank's about. This is a support tank. I can't reiterate that enough. So on this map, kind of heading up to the hill. Hill generally is the best place to go with this tank. Kind of look at your flanks a little bit though. Don't leave a flank uncovered. I'd stay away from tank alley. This is not the best tank for tank alley at all, just because there's so much cover, people popping in and out with big TDs. If you get hit by a TD in your turret, it's gonna really fuck your shit up. I'm not sure if you guys saw last video, but the Jag Panzer on our team hit their T54 E1 for about 1800, something like that, in his turret. So TDs are really going to be your biggest threat, especially with turret shots, and you're going to get ammo racked quite a bit, unfortunately. Fires, really, I mean, I could probably run without a fire extinguisher and run with something else a little bit more useful, but arty, always seems to be a big problem with this, and it's an arty magnet because they know they can pin it pretty easily. So I like to keep my fire extinguisher on. Definitely need a repair kit for being tracked or ammo racked. Your gunner and driver get taken out pretty frequently as well, so always nice to have a repair kit. Heading up right here, I'm not going to just rush into it. I see not many tanks on my team are coming this way, and looks like they have quite a few tanks. So looking to see what I can hit. Looking at this Object 263 right there. Shot him twice, didn't end up hitting him at all. Shot him again, didn't hit him. So I'm going to go ahead and back up right here. I actually got hit by their, I believe it's Object 704, and look exactly where I got hit from. Oh, right there is the first shot from that Object 263, and look at, I mean, it penetrated but no damage. So that's what I was talking about earlier. That's a great spot, and it's a troll spot. That guy's pissed that he just lost out on 600, 700 some damage on me from that. Unfortunately, their Object 704 was able to pin me in the best place my armor can possibly be, which is right at the crease. Like that's ideal. So that was quite a bit of RNG on his side with that. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and back up. I don't want to be the first line. I don't want to be the first person to be taking hits on my team. So I'm just going to wait for them to crest the ridge and unload into them and back up. Object 263 is the first one to go. He's looking at me though. He ends up bouncing that shot, and I'll show you right where he bounced it in a sec. I brewed him up right there, end up missing that last shot. Their T57 starts engaging me. And let's see if we can find out where exactly. Right there in the best part of my armor. Pretty much the only place he could have not pinned me. I guess I don't know if that's right English or not, so forgive me with that. I'm gonna keep backing up. I'm gonna be a little bitch right here and not take shots until I'm fully reloaded. So I am reloaded pretty much at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and start engaging their Object 263 again. I want to take him out. I'm just gonna pop some shots into people right now at this point. Their Object 263 is down to 7%. I need to finish that guy off. He goes down though without a hitch. We actually did just lose our, who did we lose right there? AMX right here. So right here I'm saying help so my team can help me out with this. Their M103 ends up bouncing a shot on me. I'm reloading. I still got probably 10 seconds left, if not a little bit less than that. They're rolling us guys right now, 3-8. Statistically, we have a 90% chance to lose at this point. So I reload right there, putting 2 nice shots into him, finish up the M103, no problem. I see a T57, shouldn't be too big of a problem either. Hit him for a 413, finish him up right there with the 161. So that's pretty much the definition of what this tank's about: backing up, popping out, finishing people off. Not to say you can't brawl with this tank, because you absolutely can. Just pick who you brawl with. Don't pick a 100%, Waffentrager E100 and roll out guns are blazing. So right here you see a T30. I can easily finish this guy up. Not afraid to take a shot from him. I'm going to shoot right into his cupola. Shoot right into his cupola again and finish him up. 2 shots and no problem. I got 2 rounds left. I'm going to wait a little bit. I feel like somebody's going to come down this hill, and I want to make sure I can put 2 shots into them before I have to reload. As you've noticed at this point, I've used up half my ammo. Most of those weren't misses. Now granted, I didn't get quite a bit of penetrations on the 263, but I mean I still shot the rounds and hit targets. So rounds are going to be very, very, very slim in this tank, and you'll find yourself running out of ammo quite a bit if you stay alive like I do, or try to do rather. So I got a full clip at this point, and just as I expected, somebody rolled down their T54. I'm not doing a very good job painting this guy. He's got great whole armor, and I'm taking some shitty shots right here. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. He actually gets finished up by our WAF WT PZ4. So happy with that. I'm gonna go ahead and reload. I know he's covering me right there while I reload. Looking at the map, seeing what's left, we're actually tied it up right now 10-10. Miraculously, we're coming back from the odds. They still have a Waffentrager E100, and last time I checked, he was at very, very high percentage. That's going to be the biggest problem. One-on-one, I can easily, and when I say easily, as you'll see in a second, kill any tank on their team, especially if they're damaged and not at 100%. If they have 1,200, 1,300 hit points, absolutely go engage them one-on-one. You can kill them. You might take a hit, but I mean, you'll finish them up in 8 seconds or 6 seconds, I think, and they'll be pretty pissed off. So moving up pretty cautiously, put my frontal hull out first. Don't want to get hit. Boom, object 704. If I get hit in the side, he can really do some damage. He actually tracks me in the back. He's pissed. I'm gonna go ahead and just start loading him up with the rounds. He's down to 2%. I fuck up that shot. I need to be very careful with the shot and where I place it. Finish him up with the 20 before he's able to do anything. You do not want to get shot in the side in this tank, guys. It'll ammo rack you more times than you want and damage crew members. Especially if it's a TD, you know, the crit chance on your side is bad. So right now it's still 11-11. I've got almost 1,500 hit points. I'm feeling pretty confident, guys. Looking at their team, they're pretty badly beaten up, but at the same time, I mean, so is our team. 24%, 51%. We've got a ST1 battling another ST1. He's at 4% now. So basically, whoever gets the next shot off is going to win that engagement. They still have a Waffentrager E100, guys. That is not what we want. I'm really worried that he's going to come up here with me, but I do want to get to the hill. That way I can get pot shots off. I can pretty much cover the entire middle of the map from up here. The Waffentrager hasn't been spotted. I mean, he has been, but I don't have mods on, so I'm not sure where the hell he is, to be honest. I spot the T95. He's at 100%. That's actually kind of a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and start engaging this guy. And I'm just going to be shooting him in the butt. Obviously going to pin it. I'm not sure where this shot goes. It goes low right under him, I guess. Kind of pissed about that. So, you know, took 1,200 plus damage out of that guy. He's down to from 100 to, I don't know what he was at. We'll find out in a sec. E50, he's going to engage our ST1. I'm not sure what that tank is to this day. Obviously going to brawl with him a little bit there, see what can be done with that. Our PSD4 down there, 29% is what I got him to. Unless he just took another shot from somebody, I'm not sure. Who knows? So I'm going to finish up the T95 right here. Kind of rush that shot a little bit on the side. That's obviously never going to pin him with that angle. Finish him up with a 76. So I'm up to 5 kills. Still 1,500 health left. Now, at this point, I can easily win this game, even with the rest of my team dead, if I play smart. Thankfully, I got 3 other tanks alive to take shots for me and to help me take out enemies, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. I'm really worried about that Waffentrager. He hasn't been spotted until, I think, just now. He was spotted down there. He is at 86%, 1718 hit points. I'm not going to be able to kill him, and he can easily kill me in one, you know, a few clips or a few rounds before I'm able to finish him up. Trying to get some shots on that E50 crossing right there. I'm not able to do so. See if I can come down and get some shots on that Waffentrager. He just goes and bay lifes it. Our TDs over there do a great job of hitting that E50 and just completely smoke that guy. And I think they do finish him up in a sec. So I'm going to go help out our ST, I'm going to call him STI. I don't even know what the hell it is. I'm pretty sure it's the STI though. And go engage that Waffentrager. The Waffentrager has been hit by him, thankfully, so he's down to under 1,200 hit points. So easily with 4 rounds, and that's even, I can even miss a shot or have a shot that doesn't pin or something like that, can still kill him. It won't be a problem. I'm happy with this engagement. So Waffentrager does kill our STI right there and gets hit for 700, I guess, by our object 704, I believe. So this game's pretty much over at this point. I'm going to go just run train on this guy. He's going to be pissed and pick up my 6th kill. Finish him up right there with a 28. So heading back into the garage, you'll see that I picked up Master Badge Ace Tanker as well as Top Gun and High Caliber. One thing I forgot to mention is I'm not sure if you saw or not. If not, rewind a little bit if you care to. I had 3 rounds left out of 36, so I was pretty much screwed. If I had to engage that E50 at 100% health, I definitely could not have killed that guy. And I'm not sure how the outcome of that match would have been had my team not killed him or I had no team left to engage him with. So that's exactly what I was talking about. If I had HE right there at the end, I would have been fucked. You know, maybe the E50 was at half health, and I easily could have killed him with AP or heat rounds. But if I had HE to deal with, you know, other enemies, I would have been completely fucked, unless I just somehow, you know, shot him in the rear, you know, to finish him up, or he had very, very, very low HP, and I just ended up killing him with HE. So something to keep in mind: absolutely need to load as many AP or HE AT rounds as you can, and stay away from HE because you cannot afford to have 4 HE rounds. That's pretty much going to be useless, and especially in pubs. Like, don't bother. So moving on over to team score, you'll see that I picked up 6,872 damage, 6 kills, 1,304 experience, and 2 medals. Did more than twice the damage of anybody else on my team. In this tank, you pretty much need to do about 4,000 damage. I'm not really sure what my average damage per battle is, but you need to get around between 3,500 and 4,000 damage. If you do that, then you pulled your weight on the team. Generally, you want to do about double your health and damage in this tank, so that's going to be 4,500 damage. That's where you want to aim for. I'm not saying you need to get that every time. If you go above it, that's great. That needs to be your goal, though. If you do double your health and damage, I can safely say that I felt confident enough where I pulled my weight on the team and did my responsibilities. Whether we win or not, that's kind of on everybody else. But if you pull 4,500 damage, you're more than likely going to win the game. It really all is situational, obviously, but that's kind of should be your goal. Moving on over to detailed report, shots fired 33, 30 direct hits, so I did miss a few here. 22 penetrations. That object 263 really fucked with me on that. Potential damage received was 3,800, guys. That is double my health almost in potential damage. So this tank's turret, right exactly where I said, very big troll spot, and the frontal hole is going to be your lifesavers. Looking again, I did receive another 25,000 for reward for mission complete, but I spent almost 150k on ammo. That is huge, guys. That is huge. I think this 26,000, I believe, was fully repair cost. So if you finish all your ammo off, you're looking at 160k, 165k plus the 26k for repairs. So this thing can possibly be, a little under 200k for a full loadout used, and especially if you added consumables on there, you're looking at about 200k if you die and use all your ammo. So very expensive with gold rounds. Just keep that in mind. I think I said earlier this is going to be the final video, but I'm going to include a Clan Wars video from the other night that I thought really shows what this tank can do in Clan Wars and in all tier 10 battles. You can kind of see how it stacks up against other tier 10s and the armor, because I engage a few different targets, and we actually have a great strat too, which really helps. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in next and have you guys take a look at that. Alright, so I did lie to you. I'm not actually going to show you the Clan Wars video. I took a look at it, and it just really campy. It kind of got points across that I wanted to get across, but it's just, I had to fast forward, rewind, and just I didn't want you guys to watch it. It was not very fun to watch, and I felt like this could give you a better demonstration of what I'm talking about. Since this is an open map, Fisherman's Bay, confrontation, US versus Germany. Not too happy about the matchmaking right now. Not to be one of those people that complains about matchmaking, but putting 2 E100s, Jag Panzer E100, Waffentrigger E100, and a GW E100 versus an E5, which is a decent tank, 257s and an E3. Like, come on, that's not cool. We do have the RD advantage. M53, 55 I'd much rather have than the GW E100. But look how many fucking TDs they have. For players that play this game a lot, you'll know, especially at this point in the game, the team with more TDs and better TDs is the team that generally wins for the most part, just because they are so freaking good right now. And we have a bunch of Pershings and T34s against Jag Tigers. This is really shitty matchmaking for the most part. But I'm not here to complain about it. So coming mid, I'm gonna go ahead and get some early lights on, see if I can put some shots into some people, see if I can spot anything, and moving up to this house just for some cover. And there's a little bush right there at the corner that I'll use to the best of my abilities. So look in, see what we got going on. Looks like we're gonna find a E100 right for the picking. Put a nice 445, pretty good high roll. Waiting for him to come around the other side of that post, hit him for a 404. At this point, I know I'm probably spotted, and I am. Boom, boom, boom. I've lost half my health, and I got tracked. Waffentrigger E100 is pooping on me right now. I've lost half my health in the first minute of the game. I've already had to use my repair kit, and I've had to bring my driver back to life. That is not the start I wanted. In addition to that, RD is already splashing me. So, in this tank, you cannot be over-aggressive like that. That wasn't probably a bad play, but it wasn't a good play. I kind of spotted some people, but not as much as I wanted for the amount of damage I took with that. That was not a very good decision on my part. I can't reiterate enough, this is a support tank. You cannot be overly aggressive early. That's why people die early and have low win rates in this tank and don't do much damage, because they're like, oh, heavy tank, let me push up, let me push the flank. You can't do that in this tank, especially against a bunch of TDs. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to turn out 9 out of 10 times in the favor you want it to. So also, good example of what I was talking about earlier. If I had a little bit more camouflage rating there, probably could have been spotted maybe a little bit later. Not sure why that didn't pin the E100 right there. Finishing up that Jag Tiger, pretty happy with that. So if I had a little bit more camo at the beginning right there, probably would have helped out. That's why I want to tinker with that a little bit with my skill. So just something to play with. I'll let you guys know how it goes when I get that trained to 100. Also, a really good idea is to let your team know your reload, especially so you can coordinate with already other team members around you when you want to be aggressive, when you're poking out, etc. This E100 I could not freaking kill to save my life. I have no idea. He goes dark right there. I'm shooting him in the turret. Like that's exactly where he was, and then he just somehow manages to escape me. I'm kind of pissed about that. So I'm going back up. I wasn't actually spotted right there, so I'm pretty happy. Doing decent. Gotten enough damage in where I feel pretty comfortable. Their team, for some reason, is not rolling us. Quite astonishing considering they have more tier 10s, more tier 9s, and above all else, they have less tier 8s and freaking a ton of TDs. No excuse for them to lose this game. They really threw that away. Even though we might have been better players, I can't really remember statistically what the chances were, but when you got that many TDs, you just, I don't know, you need a reroll. So, moving on up, I saw the E75 was just spotted right around here. I'm going to see if I can spot him again, and I can. So I'm going to pop him right in the turret. He doesn't actually move. I'm not sure what the fuck he was doing. He's just going to let me kill him. Appreciate it, bro. I finished him up. I'm going to go ahead and reload automatically because I want to be ready. I'm going to go ahead and pull back behind cover because I know Artie might be targeting me. They do have 2, and I'm not exactly sure where they are. On the K line somewhere, obviously, but I just want to be cautious of that because if I get hit by Artie and they get a pretty high roll, they're going to kill me, and I don't want to go down this early into the game. Done a decent amount of damage so far. Gotten 2 kills. Pretty happy with that. Looks like our 1-2 line's fallen, our west flank. So I'm going to go ahead and move over there and help support that. It's something this tank you really, really, really need to make sure you can do is support your other tanks. When you see a side falling, if it's not a bad idea and you can do it safely, readjust. Go help them out. You don't even have to, like, drive over to the 1-2 line. You can just support from afar. Absolutely don't just walk out into the open. But help your team out. That's how you get wins, and not even in the T57, just in general. So just something to keep in mind. I'm looking hopefully get some pot shots off on these TDs over here. I can't. They're all in cover. So I'm going to stay right around here and just hold this flank down the best I can. We've got a Pershing over there and a T30. Looks like a Jag Panzer spotted, and I'm not sure why I couldn't seem to hit this guy for the first few shots, but I couldn't. And I'm not sure why his tank's not outlined in this replay, because I just watched it and it was. So forgive me for that. So I hit him 1 out of freaking 4 times right there. Not too good. I'm down to 17 rounds. I've only got 4 clips, 4.25 clips left. So not too much I can do. Jag Panzer, he's going for that T30. I'm telling him, hey bro, stay alive. You guys need to defend the base. We got 3 Artie that are puffing our numbers up a little bit on the scoreboard, but after they go down, it's going to be rolled. So Jag Panzer E100, I'm not spotted at this point, guys. That's something you need to keep in mind. I'm shooting his lower plate. I can pin him all day. No problem. I'm still not spotted, and he just fucking, I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. That really pissed me off. He did 1,000 hit points to me, and if he hit me in the turret, I would have died, but thankfully he didn't. He hit my lower hole, so it didn't kill me. But I wasn't spotted. That was just a fucking lucky ass guess. I can understand with the little red thing that shows where you're being hit from, kind of the general idea. But for him to have the altitude of me where I am and everything with that was, I don't know, that was a little bit sketchy in my opinion. Maybe it was just a hell of a lucky guess on his part, but some little shenanigans going on with that. Looking over here to see if I can support our T95. Doesn't look like I may be able to. I see a Jag Tiger over here. Now, my accuracy right here is a little bit less than. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I end up missing this shot right there. It goes low, and I'm not able to kill this Jag Tiger. And that pretty much cost me. Well, actually, another Jag Tiger killed me, but that would have got another kill and some more damage. So pretty happy with that, or pretty unhappy with that result. So I go down pretty early into the game. That's actually about average for this tank. Did a decent amount of damage, so I'm happy with how I played. I'm not too happy with our Artie, as you can see in chat. They didn't really seem to do anything for this side of the map. I didn't see them hit anything really, so. Not too happy with that, but you know what? I don't want to be that guy that QQs. So I hope you guys got a better understanding of how to play this tank, especially in a map like this. I apologize for all the jumping around right there. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. When you're not in a city map, you know, just stick around cover. Don't go off by yourself. Be in areas where, of course, that already kills the Jag Tiger right there. Be in areas where you can easily retreat and have your, you know, support from your enemy, from your allies, from arty, stuff like that. Don't be overly aggressive at the beginning. Wait until people are low on health, and you can go and finish them up. This is more of a sweeping tank rather than an assault tank. So play it defensively, play it smart, and you'll do all right in it. I'm not going to bore you with how this ends. I'll just fast forward the fuck out of it. That way you can see we end up just completely rolling this team. That was they lost. Like, that's no reason for them to lose. I don't care what the deal was with their tanks. No reason. So head back to the garage. You'll see that I picked up second class mastery badge and also high caliber again. If you're not picking up high caliber, you're probably doing something wrong in this tank. I understand off games and such, but you really need to be putting out some deeps in this tank, especially when you're in top tier. 6,163 damage, only 3 kills, so not too bad. Team was pretty shitty for the most part, other than our top 3-4 tanks. Their team was even worse, so sorry for that. Moving on over to detailed report, my accuracy this game was not very good at all. Partly RNG, partly my lack of skill, I guess, lack of aim, I don't know. But what did hit, pin for the most part, pretty happy with that. I received 6 hits, potential of almost 4,000 damage again, so the tank is pretty lucky as far as hits with all the troll spots it has on it, but I mean, you're going to go down if you get hit enough, and 6 shots, especially from TDs, will absolutely do that. 118,000 on freaking ammo, 26,000 for credits, 6,000 for my consumables. Lost 25,000, even though I made, you know, 125,000. So definitely eats money with gold rounds. 3,080 experience total with a ×2 and a little reward for mission complete. So pretty good tank overall. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope it was informational enough so you can get a better understanding of how to play this tank. If you're thinking about playing this tank, going for it, you know, I absolutely would. It's a great tank to have for clan wars, and it's just so much fun to run. You can't go wrong with an autoloader, honestly, especially a tier 10 autoloader. If you like the video, make sure you like it, leave a comment. If you want me to do a specific tank, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll try to get one out pretty soon for you. If you like the series, absolutely subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the battlefield.